Like you can grow a lot so much in a year, and especially as a band, it's like growing 10 years in 1 year.
Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes in Kyle from Bodysnatcher. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you, man?
I am fantastic. Congratulations. Happy record release day.
Thank you so much.
Big day, man. Bleed Abide is out now on Monarch Heavy. The fantastic Monarch Heavy and Monarch Heavy music group, assorted labels, fantastic job they're doing with all the killer bands. They really have, even though they have a very eclectic roster, they really do have like some of the most brutal killer bands right now. You guys, Great American Ghost, Enterprise Earth comes to mind. So many cool bands, and Crowbar, of course. So like
Yeah.
very cool label to be on for you guys.
Yeah, it's really awesome. We love working with them from the start. It's been really sick, and they've been really on top of all the press stuff for this album. So it's kind of a first for us. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And shout out to your publicist, who's we're big fans and friends of Earsplit PR. So shout out to them also.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, man, killer job. I always think of Body Snatcher as a band that has really emerged. In the pre pandemic days. We're not out of it yet, but like in the early days, before you just had a record out in 2019, and then boom, right back now with Bleed
Mhm.
Abide. And there's definitely, I know a lot of bands when they go from, as they progress through their career, you hear journalists and writers talk about maturity or growth and things like that, but it's definitely like a step up from where you guys were just like a year and a half ago, and this record is now like raw, right at you.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like I think our most mature work to date. And I mean, coming off this Heavy Void, which we put out in I think it was January 2020, um, it's just a different atmosphere to the album. Like I don't really
Yeah.
know. Like you can grow a lot so much in a year, and especially as a band, it's like growing 10 years in 1 year. So over the
Well,
pandemic.
all of us. I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
I
And
aged
the
like 20 years in the last 18 months. I feel like I'm gonna die eventually
yeah, the
from this.
pandemic kind of just like compressed everything into a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's like a casino. No
Hmm.
windows, no clocks don't matter, windows don't matter, and it's just like I'm getting an endless stream of booze and chance, game of chance.
Yep. Alone with your thoughts, which is the most terrifying thing,
Oh
right?
man, so scary, so scary. And I don't know, personally, just not to beat a dead horse because it's been a tough time for everybody. But I know I've interviewed quite a few bands, and some of them have said like they were introverted and it would help them. But I think most people who play in bands are extroverts by nature because most people, because you want to
Mhm.
perform and you want to be around, and especially this brutal, heavy music that's based in extreme metal and hardcore. We need a crowd, man. We need that community. Those bonds of community is what makes this music great, in addition to the music and the
Yeah.
scene. And so it was, personally, it was hard. I'm used to doing these interviews in person. Now we're
Mhm.
pivoted to doing them all over the world by camera, but it is what it is. But I'm
Mhm.
sure the time off helped you guys have time to kind of gel and grow and learn each other better and make this new incredible album.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely helped a lot. I mean, we tried to stay super busy. We put out a bunch of singles. We just kept working on new stuff, filming videos, practicing, the whole nine yards. The
I,
worst thing you can do when something like this happens is just sit around and do nothing. But that's the first thing that like pops into your head is, panic. What do I do now?
Well, it's funny. I think the original prognostication was this is going to last a few weeks and then it's
Mhm.
going to disappear, which it definitely did not. And so I definitely know some people who were partying those first few weeks, like time off from work, and let's get a case of beer and some weed, and that's all fine if that's you. But at the same time, then it was dragging on for a while. It's like, okay, this is a new paradigm we have to get accustomed to. So it is what it is, and I'm glad you guys made the good use of it. Kyle helping me out with my segue about videos, a whole bunch of banger videos, really well produced, really well made, and again, considering not easy to get together and film and do all these things and collaborate. So, definitely a visual style is something that Body Snatcher seems, super invested in. Your album artwork is really interesting. Shirts, I've seen posters, really always cool stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, we Kyle Medina, he always comes up with great ideas for the merchandise, and everything he comes up with, it sells like crazy. Everybody loves it. So we kind of leave most of that up to him. But with the videos and stuff, like we all have ideas for certain videos, but we couldn't do it without Toddy, Babu, and Eric DiCarlo, who are like our main go-to guys for filming the videos because they have such great ideas and great execution.
Awesome. I kind of feel like you guys are the living Spider-Man meme with three Kyles and a Chris. You know, it's like, hey Kyle,
Yeah,
who, me,
pretty
me,
much.
me.
We just use last names because then it gets too confusing.
Oh,
Like we
there and there it is,
take
and there it
the
is.
name Kyle out of the equation.
Yeah, you have to. You have
Hmm.
to. But hey, it's better than Chad. So
Yeah.
Kyle's a cool name inherently, and Chad could mean something else. I feel bad for everybody named Karen right now because their life is probably the butt of a lot of jokes.
Yeah, I think that name might be extinct after this generation.
Right? Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, tough times to live
Hmm.
in these modern times. But yeah, man, this is a record, Bleed Abide, kicking off with Bleed Abide, the two tracks. It's so just right in your face, man. I love that the tracks are super tight, and you've always been a very sort of economical band, not trying to write these progressive epics. It's generally very short, tight, to the point tracks. A fist to the face. I really love the opening. You think about all your favorite albums have the classic opening song,
Hmm.
and this has it. These two tracks are just right in your face to begin work.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, really, like you said, it kind of sets the tone for the whole album, like front to back. An album's like a book, An EP's usually just a few songs, maybe some singles, but an album's like a book. So you got to have a good opening, great middle, and great ending.
Right on, indeed. And you have them. And yeah, the whole record, the other thing is it's a long record, which I don't think we're getting a lot of. I know there's a lot of talk in the industry about it's a singles game, it's an EP world, it's a single world right now.
Mhm.
And videos, seem to get made, but I don't know where they get played other than YouTube and a few places. But I still appreciate them. But it's a very long record in a good way. It's not like a lot of bands can't sustain 10 to 13 songs, and you
Mhm.
have.
Once we start writing, we just keep going. And sometimes we end up with more songs than will fit in an album. So we just kind of hold on to those. I don't know how it works like that, but given a year or two, we could come up with like 16 solid songs and then have to cherry pick which ones we want to use for an album.
I know you guys are down in Florida. Were you able to kind of
Mhm.
rehearse and jam and play regularly this entire time the last few years while making the
Oh,
record?
I was living in Pennsylvania until September of like last September. So through the pandemic, while we were writing this album and recording it, I flew down to Chris's house, his studio, which is where we do everything, writing, recording. And I was down there for about 14 days, about 2 weeks, just writing. And then I flew back down to record it. So like we hadn't really been rehearsing, but thanks to the internet, we could send each other ideas and stuff back and forth. So we're all kind of together on every single idea.
Nice. We like hearing that. It's hard to do. Whereabouts in Pennsylvania, if you don't mind me asking?
I was living in Susquehanna County, which is like
Sure.
north of Scranton.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Of course. I know the area. Pretty cool. A
Hmm.
lot of good bands from that area. I don't know if you're from there or if you
Yeah,
just
actually, I
migrated
grew up in
there.
New Jersey, but yeah, there's a great scene in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and then the Binghamton, New York area up there too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Binghamton used to be a huge punk kind of epicenter. You have
Oh yeah.
your upstate punk stuff. So yeah,
Hmm.
interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. Yeah, this record, like I said, it's very deep. It's definitely one you got to spend a little time with. I don't.
Hmm.
I hope people have the patience. I think your fans will, and as you make new fans, they will. I highly recommend just spending a couple of listens with the record and letting it kind of affect you and absorb it in because it's not it's not a throwaway 7, 8, 9 songs. It's
Hmm.
deep.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you kind of have to listen to the whole thing. Lots of the songs have similar themes too, so it does flow together pretty well, in my opinion. You really got to sit down and listen to it.
Word. As I said, my first exposure to the band was live. I saw you guys live before I really ever heard your music separately. So I definitely consider like what you do live essential to the band. You guys are
Hmm.
getting out on the road. One of my favorite bands ever, Dying Fetus, and
Oh
it's a
yeah.
really eclectic bill.
Hmm.
It's a lot of bands, but it's a lot of cool different bands, and I think that's
Hmm.
very unique in this day and age because a lot of touring packages are just the same kind of band, which is fine because it caters to the certain kind of fan. But if you have like Dying Fetus and Chelsea Grin and Bodysnatcher, and I'm probably leaving out a few, Undeath is on there. Like it's like,
Hmm.
oh wow, this is like a really a different flavor every single act.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody's got their own spin on the heavy music, and I love I love every band on this tour. I'm really looking forward to every night.
Awesome. What's on tap that you can talk about after the Dying Fetus tour? Do you have some more stuff lined up?
Um, we're working on getting on the road, so working on putting together a few more shows, and then well, we got Europe in I think it's November, December, and we're possibly hitting some other parts in the world before that. I can't really touch on that; it's not fully booked yet, but expect to see us all around this year. So we got a busy year ahead of us, that's for sure.
Awesome. You're gonna bring this music out to the people, and the last record probably you didn't get to tour behind it much, so now you're gonna get
No,
to do all these songs.
we
And
got one in. Luckily, we got one tour in. Ended on March 1st of 2020, and then the
oh,
pandemic hit. So,
brutal, brutal.
but we're glad to get that tour in for that album cycle there.
I'm glad you did, but I'm sorry everything happened the way it did. You know, what a tough time. And again, people
Mm-hmm.
don't realize how much bands make money from touring and
Mm-hmm.
playing live and bringing the music out to people. So I am glad that it's coming back. And shout out to Dying Fetus for taking out such a cool bill with a bunch of great bands, up and coming bands. I think Frozen Soul is the band I forgot. Sorry, Frozen Soul. We love you. And
Oh yeah.
they're awesome. And please get there early. These shows are going to start early. Get there at
Mm-hmm.
doors. Don't come late like a dick. Don't leave after your band you like plays and is done. Stay late. I don't know what's up with kids these days. I sound like my dad. But anyway,
uh,
sorry.
Short
Yeah,
attention span. You
yeah.
know, it
I
happens.
mean, we all have shit to do. But like these
Mm-hmm.
people, bands are out on tour. This is their whole life. Make a night of it. Go for the whole time. Spend the whole time.
Absolutely.
Take everything in. Support the bands. Buy merch.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you need to do. So bands have a life after this. There's a lot of bands that broke up during this last couple of years
Mm-hmm.
because they saw no future in doing this, or they couldn't see a way to sustain it.
Yeah.
On top of all the other difficult things it is that go into making a band and a career in music. So props to you, and props to the other Kyles and Chris for doing what you do.
Thank you
I
so much.
Yeah, man. I love to support, happy to help. And then just as a closer, I love to end these interviews with a wild card question. And the wild
Absolutely.
card question I have for you is, what is the worst non-music related day job you've ever had? We call this segment "Day Job for a Cowboy" because I'm not that clever. But what's the worst job you ever had? Just a Joe
Oh,
job or anything?
geez. I mean, I spent a long time working in food service, and even when I'm off the road now, I still work in food service, which sucks, but it kind of just sucks the same no matter where you go. You got to give me a moment to think about this because I'm 31, so I worked a lot of jobs since I was 15. I had a job, and I liked the job, the work itself, but everything else was horrible. Like I didn't like the company I worked for. I was working in telecom installation, but the company was awful. I had to drive my own car like 2 hours each way, anywhere in the state of New Jersey, New York City, Philadelphia. And like I was only being paid from the office, which was already like 45 minutes from my house. So I was only being paid mileage 45 minutes from my house to wherever I was going. And that was the worst because I put so many miles on my car that I destroyed it and I didn't make enough money to fix it.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Glad you made it through, and glad you're making music now. Kyle
Thank you.
S, the one
Kyle.
one of the Kyles. I'm
Yep.
sorry about my puns. One of the
No worries.
Kyles of Bodysnatcher, man. Bleed Abide is out now on Monarch Heavy. Props to you guys. Congratulations on
Thank
your
you,
record
man.
release. And we'll catch you on the road with Dying Fetus and everywhere else after that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Hope to see you out there, man.
Yeah, we'll do. We'll say hi. Thanks for hanging with
All right.
Ghost Cult.
Yeah. Thank you, man. See you guys.